Wi-Fi interruption. Let me see if I can get this phone set up right. All right, we'll go like this. So it's a wild, crazy start to day two. Actually, it got crazy about 3/4 of the way in. So we got a lot to talk about, and we'll have to talk about tonight on my co-stream live with Trial TV Live, bringing you two different viewpoints from the watchers inside the courtroom and the watchers outside the courtroom. We're at the point now where a lot of you, probably all of you, have already seen the huge news that came up. And it's not done yet. It's not done yet. So, first off, she finished crossing. First of all, it's beautiful sunny day here, but it's also warm. It's supposed to hit triple digits. That's why I'm in the shade, and you see cactuses behind me. I'm in the Maricopa Superior Court Cactus Garden, bringing live updates. Get her out. Yep, you saw it. That's our new merch. Get her out. So she crossed Detective Farrar. I don't think she really necessarily landed points on that one. And once again, just to remind you, this is going to be a brief one. It's going to be 10 minutes at the most, because there was some activity that happened after the jury left that I stayed in for. There was a hearing on some evidence that she wants to introduce, that Lori wants to introduce. Hey, Eliza. Hey there. So anyway, her cross of David Farrar was kind of all over the place. I mean, they weren't horrible questions, but I don't know if they really landed any punches. Maybe. But then her cross of Brandon Boudreaux started. Uh-oh. What did you miss? Allison, I will fill you in on what you missed here in a second. I've got to build up to it. So we knew her cross of Brandon was going to get spicy, but it's not necessarily spicy for the reasons I thought it might be, because, you know, her crossing of Adam Cox in the first trial got spicy because of, you could tell that he wasn't having any of her, but Brandon Boudreaux is a more laid-back character, and he's willing to be more complicit in her questioning. But he starts out by asking, obviously, about how long they've known each other and all the things they've done together over the years, and how involved she was with their family and their kids, and vacations and holidays and everything together. She asked that one too many times. Trina K objects to it, says like relevance or something like that. The judge lets her go on with the first one, so she does the second one. Trina K objects again. He sustains that. She asks again and again and again. Objection, objection, objection. She just keeps going down that line of questioning, and the judge finally just says, move on. So she does move on, and she goes to the events of that day. Okay, we'll get to that question in a second. How was it seeing her get the boot in person? It actually wasn't that dramatic, that part. But let's get up to that point. So then she starts going down the events of that day. And then she starts, then she gets into into his and Melanie's relationship. And when they had that argument that day, July 25th, 2019, she wanted to know how much of that argument was about her. How much was she involved in that argument? Just another narcissistic question from her that's typical of her, wanting to know how much she's involved in other people's lives and how much she's screwed up other people's lives, right? It was like asking Nancy Joe, well, how much of your date did you spend talking about me? Was it all about me? It's kind of a similar feel to that question. And then they start talking about the accusations that Melanie made against Brandon that he was gay. And there's a reference in there somewhere to Pink Pony, and Trina K objects. Objection, that's 404B violation, that goes to character. So she already said it though. The jury already heard that, the video of him dancing at the Pink Pony. They heard that phrase. So they got to be wondering, right, if they caught it. Then on and on with the questioning, on and on. I can't give you all the details. We'll go over more details tonight. But the jury is paying attention to this cross-examination, and she is landing some things here and there, but especially as we get closer to lunch break. But there's a break before the lunch break. And she's crossing him once again on, she's really digging into, was Lori responsible for convincing Melanie that he was gay? So she talks about the fact that Brandon had a text. Look at this coming through again. Where's that at? Scroll down. Laney again coming through. Screwed up my phone. Taking y'all for a ride. There we go. Nope. It's not going to cooperate. That's okay. I'll be right here for another 2 minutes, and then I got to go grab some food. So anyway, she's really digging into, was Lori responsible for, he told Detective Pilar in the report that Lori was responsible for convincing Melanie. He said, no, I don't think I said that. And then she says, would you like to read the report? Would that refresh your memory? And he says, I'd love to. I'm not sure if he said I'd love to on that question. He has said that a couple times when she asked him to look at the report and refresh his memory. So he actually admits that he has no personal knowledge of Lori convincing Melanie that he was gay. He admits that he has no personal knowledge of that. He heard that from Charles. So she really digs into that, and then when she's digging into Melanie having personal knowledge, Melanie's personal knowledge of him being gay, Lori says, and you know that she saw that video of you dancing at the Pink, and Trina K goes, objection, 404B. And they have a sidebar. And they come back from the sidebar. And judge says, we're going to take a break. So he dismisses the jury. So this is outside the presence of the jury. Trina K says something about 404B in character, opening the doors to bring in other stuff. And Judge B goes, that's correct, Ms. Daybell. That 404B, you can't bring this in. And then she starts going, but the state filed that and then they withdrew it. And so if I have a 404B violation, I get to have a 404 hearing. The judge interrupts her and says, no, you don't. And if we do have one, it's going to be brief. And she goes, no, I have the right to a 404B hearing. And then they get into an argument. They get into a shouting match. He's not shouting. His voice is raised. He is animated. He is pissed off. He's not shouting. She accuses him of yelling at her. And I think she said somewhere in there, yeah, 404B is about character, right? And she's interrupting him, and she is yelling at him, raising her voice over his, interrupting him, and he says, get her out. So the bailiff comes over, and he didn't handcuff her and tackle her or anything. He just grabs her arm, well, not grabs it like forcefully, physically, just like, come on, let's go. So he escorts her out. Nothing all that noteworthy about that. But it was during a break. It was outside the presence of the jury. The judge says, go consult with your advisory counsel, and we'll talk about it when we come back. So she comes back. He admonishes her. He says, if you continue this behavior, if you continue lines of questioning over sustained objections and a couple of other things, he goes, I'm going to revoke your pro per. So she says, I understand, Your Honor, I'm sorry. And they bring the jury back in, and she continues her cross-examination of Brandon. And it's, once again, she tried to, after they let the jury out for lunch, she's trying to introduce some new evidence of emails between Brandon and Detective Pilar. So there was a hearing about that, like a 10-minute hearing. So I lost 10 minutes of lunch for that. It's been a 10-minute live now. So I gotta go. I gotta go grab a sandwich or something from the cafe, something quick, because they're gonna start putting us back in the courtroom at 1:45. So my clock is ticking and my tummy's growling. Thank you, Lainey, for that. And was there a second one? Were there two? Hold on. I'm still getting used to doing this. Allison, thank you so much. Allison and Lainey, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And you all come join us at 9 o'clock Eastern tonight. We're going to go back. Dizzy's clipping some clips to show tonight, and I'm going to go over the jurors' reactions during some of those moments and talk about those, because I'm paying close attention. I'm paying so close attention to the jurors that when one of them yawns, I yawn back. True story. Anyway, thank you all for joining me, and if you're still watching the live trial, come in and watch the replay of this, and come join us at 9 Eastern tonight on my channel and Trial TV Live. We'll see y'all later. Have a great rest of your day.